one-man game.
It's showtime, folks!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Through the Waiver Wire. I'm going to be talking about 4 pickups for the week and my streaming defense and streaming kicker of the week. But first, before we get started, hit the like button on this page. Do that for me. Let me know that you appreciate it. Hit it now. I'd very much appreciate it. Now let's move on to the first pickup of the week, and that is Bilal Powell. Matt Forte is hurt, and we don't know the extent of that injury. But with that said, Bilal Powell has outsnapped Matt Forte in the recent game, 37-34, and he's seeing a lot of work as the passing down back. Just last week, he had 4 carries for 26 yards, 9 targets for 54 yards, however. So it looks like he's going to be a very important cog in this offense. Next up, he has the Steelers, and the Steelers pretty much shut down Spencer Ware, as Spencer Ware got his yards in garbage time. But I like Bilal Powell here. I'd like to see how the situation works out with Matt Forte. But it's looking like Bilal Powell is going to be seeing the majority of the carries, or even more so of the carries as he already has. So he is a good pickup for this week. Next up is Terrell Pryor. You know, I thought this was a one-hit wonder, honestly. That's why I didn't even suggest him last week, but he's proven me wrong. And last week he had 9 targets for 46 yards and a touchdown. I mean, it's not outstanding numbers, but given that he had to deal with Josh Norman, I'd say that's pretty impressive. Now, going forward with Corey Coleman hurt and with no Josh Gordon, Terrell Pryor is pretty much the focus of the offense. Whether you want to put him there or Isaiah Crowell as focus of the offense, it's pretty much a given that he plays a big part in this offense. So going forward, I mean, they have him at quarterback at times. They have him at running back at times, receiver. So he's going to be a stat monster and a target monster going forward. So I definitely recommend picking him up if he's still on your waiver wire. Coming up is the Patriots, and this won't be a good matchup for him because I'm pretty sure, as we all know, Bill Belichick likes to take away the thing that a team does best. So I think he's going to take Terrell Pryor out for this game. He'll see minimum stats, and I wouldn't recommend playing him this week, but I would definitely recommend picking him up. Next up is Hunter Henry. Antonio Gates went down with an injury, and Hunter Henry has just seized the opportunity. I mean, we heard about the hype with this guy, but in week 3, he had 72 yards against the Colts. And I watched the entire Saints-Colts game, and Phillip Rivers was looking his way pretty much all game, as he had 61 yards and a touchdown against the Saints. I mean, and that's saying something because the Chargers have a slew of receivers, even with the injuries that they've suffered. With they have Tyrell Williams, Travis Benjamin, and Dontrell Inman. But Hunter Henry saw his fair share of looks, and he's looking like a very useful tight end. And with the way the Chargers are using him, they'll be pretty much using him like Antonio Gates. Phillip Rivers is looking his way, and next up they have the Oakland Raiders. And the Oakland Raiders are atrocious against tight ends, as they are the 22nd ranked team. I mean, they did a fairly decent job on Dennis Pitta last week, but I think this week Hunter Henry is going to get in the end zone once again. So not only do I recommend picking this guy up, I recommend playing him this week with how shallow the tight end position is. So I look forward to a big game from him. Last up on the list is Quincy Enunwa of the New York Jets. This guy has bursted onto the scene. I mean, I first noticed this guy when the Jets played the Bills. And I mean, the guy went off and had a great game, but looking forward, Eric Decker has a serious injury, and that leaves Brandon Marshall with Quincy Enunwa. And while Brandon Marshall has 39 targets on the year, Quincy Enunwa has 32. I mean, he's only 7 targets behind Brandon Marshall, and even out targeted him in a game or two this year. Even against Seattle, Enunwa had 7 targets and 60 yards. That's pretty impressive given how impressive Seattle has been over the years. Next up, he has the Steelers, and I think that he can have a really good game. The Steelers aren't exactly great against the pass, but I mean, last week they held the Chiefs down, but then again, looking at that game turned into a blowout pretty quick. So coming up this week, I like Quincy Enunwa. He's the wide receiver 2 in the Jets offense, and Fitzpatrick or Pickpatrick or whatever you want to call him, he's been looking toward Quincy Enunwa very often and very early. So I like him as an option this week, and I definitely recommend playing him if you're a wide receiver needy. Next up is my streaming defense of the week, and that is definitely the New England Patriots. This game has all the makings of a blowout. I mean, Tom Brady is going to come out like his hair is on fire. This defense is going to play solid, and they're going to play solid enough. I can see them forcing some turnovers as well. This is my streaming defense. They're going up against Cody Kessler. Now, I've picked a defense against Cody Kessler for 3 weeks now, and he's played pretty solid, to be honest. But I think this is the week where the Patriots just take them apart, because I think they're going to get off to a fast start, and I think they're not going to look back, leaving Cody Kessler to try to play catch up and leaving him to make turnovers. Last up is my streaming kicker of the week, and that is Sebastian Janikowski. Now, Janikowski you're not going to see him ranked towards the top, but the Raiders and the Chargers have the highest total game of the week at 50 points. And my strategy of using the highest total has worked out really well for me. Last week it got me 10 points with Josh Lambo. So I'm going to use it again. And I'm going with Sebastian Janikowski, and I feel really confident about it. I think Raiders and the Chargers are going to be a high-scoring game, and I'm looking forward to it.